This is the program that I am going to use for demonstrating how SAS reads data from another SAS dataset. Here in this program you can see that I am creating a temporary dataset strtext from another permanent dataset sales.str_sales using set statement, and then I am using assignment statement for calculating sales tax at the rate of 10%, and then I am using procprint step to print all the 40 observations as you can see in the output. Understanding how SAS reads an existing SAS dataset into another SAS dataset. We have already seen how SAS processes a raw data file that is read into a SAS dataset in our beginner's course. Here we will see how SAS reads an existing SAS dataset into another SAS dataset. Though process is very similar, but main difference here is that while reading an existing SAS dataset with the set statement, SAS retains the values of the variables from one observation to the next. Compilation phase. Here SAS will create a program data vector which will contain the automatic variables n and error by default, as you can notice here. Then SAS will scan the data step for any syntax error like that of invalid statements, missing semicolon, invalid names, etc. When SAS compiles the set statement, it adds the variables present in the input data set to the program data vector. Also, SAS gets variables attributes like that of name, type, length, etc. In our case, SAS will add variables store, department, quarter, and sales to the program data vector as you can see here. Then SAS will also add new variables created by us in this current data step to that of program data vector. In our case, it will add up sales tax variable as you can see here. Once it reaches the bottom of the data step, then our compilation phase will get complete, and then SAS will make the descriptor portion of the SAS data set. Now the execution phase will start. In execution phase, data step is executed once for each observation in the input data set. In our case, it will execute 40 times since we have total 40 observations. In the beginning of the execution phase, values of all the dataset variables in the program data vector are set to missing, and value of automatic variables n will be 1 since it's going to be first data step iteration, and error will be 0 since no errors have been encountered so far, as you can notice here. Now, set statement will read the first observation from the input data set and writes its corresponding variable's value to the program data vector as you can notice here. Then, in data step, it will execute statement lying next to set statement. In our case, the assignment statement for calculating sales tax, thus it will write the computed value for the variable sales tax to the program data vector as you can notice here. At the end of the first iteration of data step, the values of the variables present in the program data vector are written to the output data set strtext as the first observation as you can notice here. Then it gets ready for second data step iteration by increasing the value of n to 2 and error remains 0 since no error has been detected so far. Here for second iteration, control will move to the top of the data step so that it can start reading set statement again for second observation. Note, since we are reading data from another SAS dataset, so SAS will retain the values of the variables that were read from a SAS dataset with that of set statement or that were being created by a sum statement as we have already discussed in accumulator. All other variables such as that of sales tax will be reset to missing, thus our program data vector looks something like this at the beginning of the second iteration. Now again SAS will execute the set statement for second observation and the corresponding variable's value will be written to the program data vector as you can notice here. Then in data step it will execute the statement lying next to the set statement, in our case the assignment statement for calculating sales tax. Thus, it will write the computed value of the variable sales tax to the program data vector as you can notice here. At the end of the second iteration of data step, the values of the variables present in the program data vector are written to the output data set strtext as the second observation as you can notice here. Then it gets ready for the next data step iteration by increasing the value of n to 3 and error remains 0 since no error has been detected so far, as you can notice here. And process goes on until all of the observations are read. In our case there are 40 observations, thus 40 data step iterations will take place. I hope you were able to understand this process, also have understood the reason why I have not discussed it with that of reading raw data files into SAS. That's it, see you in next lecture, thanks.